يا رحيم.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the mid-morning talk with myself, Shahista Thokan. The theme of the month is the pillars of Islam, and today's particular third pillar of Islam is the topic of Zakat. Now, I'm going to head over to my final guest of the show, which is a friend of mine, but also my financial advisor, Yumna Laher Moosa. She is working currently at 27-4 as a wealth manager. She's been a financial advisor since 2010. Her objective is to provide comprehensive financial planning of portfolios, leveraging available opportunities to optimize wealth of her clients. She is also passionate about empowering women and promoting financial literacy amongst women in her community. So, Assalamu alaikum, Yumna. Nice to have you on my show.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah for having me, Shaisa.
You know, I'm so excited to have another female who's passionate about finance because I take it really seriously. And I feel like Zakat is the type of topic that we need to take seriously.
No, we do. We have to. It's one of the five pillars of Islam, and we don't stress a lot on it. And also, I think a lot of people don't understand exactly how it needs to be dispersed and how it needs to be calculated, which was one of
No,
the topics that we discussed.
No, definitely. And we spoke earlier with my previous guest about how we feel like zakat is something that takes away from our wealth. But in one hadith, it says that zakat does not make one poorer. In actual fact, it cleanses, it purifies the wealth, and it protects us. So if we change the mentality of how we see it, we will actually be more open to giving it. So in
Very
this
true.
whole discussion, I brought you in as a financial advisor to actually teach us the practicalities of how to manage our wealth, how to actually reach a point of where our distribution is not difficult upon us. Because as we said, we're allowed to distribute our zakat in advance. However, that anniversary date is very important for us to understand. So I'm going to say regarding zakat as an Islamic tax, people are confused about their assets and how to realize the net zakatable asset value. So, what is the easiest method for us to know what is zakatable in our portfolios?
So any liquid in your bank account is zakatable at that point in time, as long as you're holding it for a year. You've got to take into account your investments that you have because it is liquid and it's accessible at any time. I think a lot of people gripe with your pension fund or your retirement annuities, and pension funds are not zakatable, but your personal retirement annuity is because you investing with the money that you have paid to you and then into your retirement annuity. So it's very important to understand what is zakatable. So all assets that are available to you as net zakatable, especially in your investments. So your bank accounts, your fixed deposits, you have shares that are available. Those are all zakatable. So that's all done with voluntary money, and that all needs to be paid on.
You know, we both attended the Zakat conference, and I was an invitee of yours, and Jazakallah for that, because I think I've gained a lot of knowledge from that conference that Sanzaf had hosted. And the one thing that Sister Fedo said, and I remember asking the question, is the pension fund is an involuntary,
Contribution.
deduction
Yes.
contribution by us through our employment, and that's why it was not zakatable. And I said, oh, I've been calculating my zakat for years using my pension fund. So am I entitled that money back? And she said, no.
No.
Unfortunately, it was an ignorant moment. And Alhamdulillah, that must have been a reason for more abundance later on. And we must never go back and try and see where we can actually get more, but where we can give more.
It's very, very true. We keep thinking like she said, it's a gripe um, payment that you made, and that's a wrong thing to think of. It's not. It's there to cleanse your wealth, to to spiritualize us, and also that our zakat is meant for the people who are less fortunate. So you taking your wealth and giving it to somebody else and making a change in their lives and bringing a change in their lives and a positivity in their life. So we need to look at it as a positive thing, not such a
Yeah.
negative
Yeah,
on
like
on us.
a loss of income in any
Exactly. It's
way.
not a loss. You taking it, you cleansing it, and you're giving it to those who are less fortunate, who are going to use it in a better way. So
And
we need to
we
change
had
that.
a beautiful story earlier on from the guest who said his life has changed with zakat. And imagine if my excess has changed someone's life. I mean, that's definitely brownie points for the akhirah. So I think it's
Most
wonderful.
definitely.
Yes, to actually see it in that way. And then you spoke about the retirement annuity. And I have a lot of friends, when we worked previously and when we are putting our monies here and there to try and preserve our wealth for our old age, it is a voluntary action which we did in ways to scatter our wealth, to diversify our portfolio, to move our eggs out of one basket, as they say. You financial advisors say that.
Yes.
So that is the reason, am I correct, as to why the retirement annuity is then zakatable?
Correct, because it's voluntary money that you are now using to put away, and you are specifying that money. So that's why all retirement funds are zakatable.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to then ask you, in terms of the household budget, which is a topic that we can have by itself because it's so important how to manage money. And we spoke earlier about these housewives that say, well, I'm not going to pay my zakat. I don't have any liquid cash. They do have husbands who may pay on their behalf, as well as
Correct.
meher or jewelry, right? Does the jewelry then form part of their zakatable assets?
Correct, it does, because you own it, and if it's gold or silver, you are zakatable for it. So you might not have the liquid to pay for it, but you can have a discussion, like we said in that in the Senzef training
Conference.
session we had, where you ask your husband to pay that on behalf of you because you don't want to liquidate it. So you can't go sell off a piece and then it's not advisable to sell off a piece of jewelry and then pay. You can have a
Mm.
discussion with your husband and tell him, listen, this is zakatable from me, but I don't have the cash, and will you do it for me? And that's also fine.
Okay, perfect. What if you're in a situation where you need to sell off that jewelry to pay zakat? Is that the responsibility then of how we should take the obligation more seriously?
It is. You have to take it seriously, and you are liable for it. So if you knowingly not paying it, then you're answerable for that at the end of the day.
So, taking to consideration that we have this inflationary economy, things are just getting more and more expensive, the cost of living and so on. From a household budget perspective, how would you suggest an easy way to save our money monthly so that when it comes to a time of discharging our zakat, paying our taxes, giving charity, we actually don't purge ourselves in debt?
I think it's you've got to do that budget, which is very important on a monthly basis, and calculate what you have on that nisab date. So remember, you're supposed to have your nisab date, and that's the date that you are going to dispense every year. So you need to literally sit down with a piece of paper and jot down what you have, jot down your expenses every month, and see where you can put that surplus amount away, or make an intention that in 6 months time or 8 months time you're going to use that money to put away for zakat and then do a lump sum. But we need to be more adherent to what we are doing and also plan for it. So
Mm.
planning takes a big part of it, planning and budgeting, I think.
And also being aware where you're spending your money, right? We
Correct.
don't know
Very, very
sometimes
important.
where we spend our money.
Yeah, you have to know. You have to know where you, if you're sending zakat to a certain place, find out that it's a reputable company, that they are dispersing correctly also, not just anybody else. Like Senzef was explaining to us, that you need to know where it's going to, and that it's being done correctly and at the right time, and it's dispersed at the right time. Because if you're entrusting them to do that for you, you do need to make sure that they are doing that for you as well.
And I remember I asked that question to the CEO of Sanzaf, is that we see the bank account sitting on millions. Does this mean our zakat has not been discharged in the 12 months? And the simple response to that was they find the recipients as best they can and they distribute
Correct.
as best they can. However, the
Yes.
beneficiaries are lesser than the donors in terms of the
Yes.
amount. So
Correct.
that's how that excess funds happen.
So it's actually
So,
not
Alhamdulillah.
excess. Yeah, like she said, it's not excess that's sitting there. It's
Yes.
excess that needs to be sent out for a certain project that hasn't been sent out yet, or the costings haven't been done. But they do disperse as soon as they can, not to keep that funds with them.
Yes. So ideally, 12 months period is when our zakat needs to be given. So Yumna, we're going to get back to you after this ad break.
No problem.
Yeah.
Dad, these Frymax chips are so tasty.
Wow, that really takes me back. My dad bought me a Frymax chips every day after school. They were my favorite when I was your age as well. Quality is at the very heart of what we do, and that's why we ensure that every Frymax packet is filled with the beautiful goodness and flavor-packed taste that you've come to expect from us since 1982. Frymax, from generation to generation.
Freedom Stationery supply Marlin and Marlin Kids pens to me and my school friends. They supply just about everything we need to help us get a better education, from books to files to rulers. In fact, any any accessory we need. Freedom Stationery. Education for the nation. What does accessory mean?
This Ramadan, spread the love with Sunshine D margarine, the perfect addition to your seri table for spreading, baking, and cooking. Sunshine D is rich in essential vitamin A, E, and D, and is the tastiest way to get their day or night started. Sunshine D tastes nice, no lies.
In the Eastern Cape, children are facing unimaginable hunger. A baby was rescued, fed only powdered drink. A young girl lost her life searching for food. Children eat grass to survive and return to school on Mondays too hungry to learn, some even crying from hunger. Teachers and principals are giving what little they have, but it's not enough. This Ramadan, you can make a difference. Help us support Muslim families in Gqeberha and rural Eastern Cape. Together, we can feed hope, fight hunger, foster change. Donate to the Al-Fida Foundation. Send your proof of payments to admin@alfida.co.za for Section 18A tax certificates, or contact us on 041 484 1288.
This is Salam Media, and you are listening to Shahista Thokan.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the mid-morning talk with myself, Shahista Thokan. And we're discussing the third pillar of Islam, which is Zakat. Before we headed for the ad break, we're talking about ways of saving and how to use your household budget more mindfully and more consciously. And I'll give you a classic example of this is I have a coin tray, and I think Yumna, all of us have these coin trays, and we pop in all our coins, and sometimes they're good 5 Rand coins, you know. So when you give out at, the robots, which my husband is totally against, and then to the car guards, you realize sometimes in a week just how much you've actually dispersed of your wealth. And that same conscious decision of putting that wealth towards a charity or giving someone maybe a plate of food would have benefited the person more, right? So
That's
just
true.
these simple mindful actions make a big difference. So Yumna, if you have to advise us how best to save our money, so where can we save our money and how do we save our money? I know when I first met you, I told you, Yumna, I save under my mattress, and you started laughing at me.
Exactly. No such thing as saving under your mattress. So obviously, we have so many different Sharia investment products that are available to us that we never used to in 20 years ago or 30 years ago. So we need to make use of what we have and use them wisely. So there's tax-free investment vehicles that you can use via your Sharia platforms. We've got fixed deposits at the bank that you can speak to with your bank, and they can provide you with a muraba profit amount. There's long-term investments where you put it away for 5 years. There's retirement annuities as well, or even if you're just saving for your Hajj fund or your holiday. So there are a lot of products available, but it's the right product that you need to choose for you as an individual. So everybody's got different terms or long-term goals or short-term goals. So the product needs to suit the goal that you're saving for. So retirement is normally for long-term goals because that's 20, 30 years plus. Short-term investments is like tax-free investments or unit trusts. And the availability of the Sharia portfolios that are available is immense. So you've just got to research, and with your advisor that helps you, you choose the ones that are suited for you, because not everybody is going to be in the same book as everybody else. Your friends are going to be with you, your spouse won't be with you. Your choices are different. So that's why your advisor is there to help you with those choices, to guide
And
you.
I think
through
the
that path.
general, sorry to cut you off there, Yumna. The general concern is the accessibility to the wealth that you've saved, right? So
Correct.
wherever you place this wealth, accessibility to it. And we spoke earlier about these housewives who say, well, I'm just sitting with my jewelry in my head and I'm unable to pay. So I have to ask my husband. And sometimes our husbands may not want to pay on our behalf, right? So when we do get maybe here and there a bit of saving, sell this, get this, you know how women make a plan generally for with money. Those little amounts can add up to larger amounts in 12 months' time. So if I'm
Most
looking to
definitely.
put these small amounts somewhere, you would say a tax-free investment with a commercial bank is easy accessible for us to draw out that cash?
Tax fees are accessible at any time, but the thing is, it's the amount of money that you.
Okay. So I think we just lost Yumna's mic there. Yumna, I think we're connecting again to you. But so we spoke about this obligation does not fall away. It forms part of your estate. It will form part of your will. It forms part of your obligation and it still remains. We all, you know, alhamdulillah, are so fortunate nowadays to own something. And I did the show, you know, last year during Women's Month where we spoke about our meher when we get married is a form of financial security. It's a protection of women's rights. Islam does it at the onset of marriage so that we're never left without some form of wealth of our own to care for our basic needs. And the meher nisab is sometimes seen as a menial amount, but it is an amount ordinarily not given in a normal situation of customary marriages. So, Alhamdulillah, when we are born as Muslims, there are many benefits, and one of such benefits is the protection of our woman. And we spoke about, you know, Aisha radiallahu anha saying that we are so powerful in our households, we're able to not only bring barakah in, we are able to give charity out in the smallest and kindest of ways, even through the knowledge of the first madrasa with your children being your own lap. So that education of your own children. So Yumna, Jazakallah for reconnecting. Thank you for coming back. I would like you to please share an easy tip for us to intentionally invest wisely. So how do we invest our wealth more wisely? Okay, there seems to be an issue with Yumna's volume there. So let's head on to more zakat information and how this idea of giving towards our communities, what actual change does it catapult our society into? Yumna, you're back.
Shahista, I'm so
No
sorry. I don't
problem.
know what happened there.
No, it's fine. You know, we live in a country where load shedding, water shedding, it's just one of those things. So we're quite used
Crazy.
to it. But Yumna, please can you share an easy tip to our listeners on intentionally investing wisely?
So intentionally investing is find the right product that suits you. Like I said, if you're looking for accessibility, then keep that as your main concern and express that as what you wanted. So find a product that suits you if you want accessibility. If you don't need the funds, some people have money and they can fix it for 5 years. Then obviously your growth is going to be bigger. So it's the best thing I would say is find the product that's suited to you and also research what you are investing in. Don't just take it as face value and understand where you are putting your money. You know, as an advisor, I told you, Shahista, I'm here to help you. But at the end of the day, I want you to understand where your money is going to, how it grows. And at the end of the day, it is yours. So I can assist as much as I can. I'm here to guide. But you need to understand and fully be aware of what your decision has made and
No,
where it's going.
definitely. I think we spoke about the responsibility of even the zakat being our own individual and doesn't
Exactly.
even pass to the amil, which is the NGOs that are distributing our zakat or whoever may be. So Jazakallah so much, Yumna, for your time today.
Shukran.
I really appreciate the advices you gave in a practical sense of wealth management, and we hope to speak to you soon.
Shukran, Shaista.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Before I head to an ad break, I just want to recap the overall sense of what the guests have shared. And from Yusuf's story of being a recipient of zakat, to Maulana being an advocate for the development tool of zakat and how it is calculated, and then to Yumna, who is a financial advisor on how to manage our wealth in order to pay this tax obligation of zakat, Islamic tax. We need to take care in how we actually distribute this money. It is hard-earned money by us, which is calculated specifically on criteria. There are methods and ways. There are apps now that make things so easy. So I, for one, have the Sanzaf Zakat app, which is so simple, and it stores our historical information. So if you've measured, like I've weighed my jewelry this year prior to paying my zakat, if you put that figure into your app, it actually stays year after year, and as you add on, you obviously just add on what is new in the 12-month period to the app. So alhamdulillah, there are so many easy ways that we don't have to cut line and do the shortcuts and calculate our zakat in a traditional way. We've got more fiqh, more guidance, more advice, more people to advise us, people to turn to, shows such as these, which grow our knowledge into how to calculate our zakat. And I, for one, was ignorant in all the years. I did not know about the pension and the retirement difference. Just took the wealth as a whole cumulative thing. So alhamdulillah, there are also protection ways on how to save money in different forms and where we are not obligated to pay on certain things. So you may just surprise yourself in what you learn. It may not be a larger aspect of zakat in terms of more work for you to do, but just more care in how you do it. So don't just give your zakat to an organization. Understand that your responsibility is until the disbursement of that zakat. The transparency process, the accountability falls on the donor always. It's a trust relationship, sure, but you need to trust the process as well, that there are only so many beneficiaries and there are only so many donors. And I think in educating ourselves, we learn so much more. So I'm going to head over to an ad break before we round up the last 15 minutes of the show.